Welcome to Coach's Corner. This is Julian Eden here at East Coweta High School. I'm talking with the head coach for the Varsity boys basketball team, Coach Maxwell. Welcome.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
I have to ask you, East Coweta played the quarterfinal game in the GHSA region tournament yesterday against Westlake. And that was a clutch performance. Both teams, working their butts off. But I have to tell you that I personally think that East Coweta Indians played better offensively and defensively. And I would figure that was a hard loss for your team. But how do you feel about that loss last night?
I do agree with you, Mr. Eden. That was definitely a hard loss because the kids were able to carry out our scouting report. I mean, we go into every game with a strategy. We don't play. I played basketball at a very high level as well as most of my coaches. So we give the kids the experience of a scouting report and a strategy to attack every game. And the kids carried out every part of it. So in the end, that's very, very tough to experience that loss for the kids because Westlake started 6'11" and 6'8". So, yesterday we started 4 guards and a forward. So 6'4" and 6'6". And we pretty much took their big men out of the whole game. So, I was excited for the kids on that front, but to experience that buzzer beat at the end, I know it was detrimental, as far as the thought process afterwards.
So, what do you think was your team's strength in the game yesterday?
Like you said, Mr. I think we definitely come well prepared. A lot of games that we experience is because I decided to go young, and in building a program, you need to start young so you can experience a lot of, as you say, sow your seeds. You sow your seeds later. So I think definitely our strength was carrying out the plan. I think definitely the kids fought through the bad calls. There were a lot of calls that I think were, judgmental, which way were they called, but the kids were unemotional. They fought through it and they didn't stop. So I think the fight, because we started 2 sophomores and 3 juniors. And a lot of people don't realize that. And starting 2 sophomores and 3 juniors. In some games, I think McIntosh and Westlake, the first time we started a freshman. So with us starting out so young and the kids able to fight and people don't even realize those kids so young, I think that's definitely an advantage of, how we're sowing our seeds now, and in the future, people definitely better watch out.
Although your team played extremely well yesterday, what would you say was the weakness of your team?
I think we didn't play 32 minutes. In our region, Pebblebrook is number 2 team in the state. Will is like a number 8 team in the state. Westlake is won state championship 2 years ago, and a lot of these kids were on that team. So I think the weakness that we have to play 32 minutes in the type of games we play. Campbell, I would say, arguably has the best coach in the state. And then the other team, Newnan, is a rival for us. So that's going to be another tough game for us. There's no nights off. And I think that the weakness, we didn't play 32 minutes that night. We missed some free throws in the critical time. We were 12 for 17. So only missed 5, but they missed them in the critical time. We missed some rebounds at the end of that third quarter when we were up 10 that could have propelled us to 12 or 14 or 16. So I just think the kids being young and learning, we have to play the whole 32 minutes to get what we're trying to get out of it.
So what did it feel like for you to see your team struggle in the second half to maintain the lead they had against Westlake? Because they had quite a lead against Westlake, and they were not able to maintain that. How, as a coach, how did it feel for you to see them struggle to maintain that?
Well, pretty much that league, when they changed the defense and our point guard couldn't, well, our guard, not just our point guard, couldn't adjust. And we adjusted as coaches, but again, we're merely counselors. They couldn't adjust, and Westlake went real big on the guard side. And that's a tribute to youth. That's a tribute to youth. They went to a wide 1-2-2. And, you know, we were bringing the ball up the sideline all day because they were in 2-2-1. They were in presses. They tried to take the middle from you, so we didn't try to take the middle from the side. Then, like I say, it was loud. It was emotional. It was a game for the ages.
Yes,
and
I agree.
Think the kids, when we're trying to give them direction to kind of ad hoc coach them through it, we just couldn't adjust as a team on the floor at the particular time. At the end, we started to get the ball to Chris in the middle, and we started to come out of that slump. But that 3 to 4 minutes when they first went to that 1-2-2, and then I'd already burned timeouts to make sure we kept our lead throughout the game. If you would have given me 3 more timeouts, we definitely would have been able to continue, because I could have burned a timeout and just kind of readjust the kids or readjust the players. And it just wasn't enough timeouts to get my kids to adjust. But I attribute it to youth, because all 5 starters were first-year starters. Last year we had a lot of seniors. So, and eventually they adjusted and kept fighting. And you know, we went down to the end.
You know, a lot of people think that mental pressure, you know, in a clutch game, you know, only affects players. But I tell you, it affects coaches, you know, as well, so much. So much so that some coaches, you know, they can't handle themselves on the sidelines, and some of them have to be evicted. But how do you prepare yourself, you know, for a clutch performance, a clutch game like the ones you guys had last night? How do you deal with that pressure? How do you get yourself to prepare for that kind of pressure?
Well, I think, man, attributing that to the staff we have. I have 2 head coaches on my staff, former head coaches, along with 3 other coaches that played Division I sports and also professional sport on a high level. So we meet and we look at it like a college staff. So we prepare. So the kids already knew what to do if we're down 1 or we're down 2. Or we're up 1 or we're up 2 in crunch time. I think the preparation, because if you prepare for it, then you're not surprised when the time comes.
Yes.
And then also having my notes. I got a sheet of paper that has down 1, what to do, down 2, under the goal, out of bounds play, side out of bounds play, what we're going to do, how many seconds it take. We have a play to take 5 seconds, which that's why Chris got that 3. Both of my guards go to the corner. The smallest guy bring it up because you can't steal it from him. It's a dribble handoff, which creates the pick and creates the space. And whoever been hot, take that shot. So we scored. We were down 3 with 22 seconds. I think we scored with 17 seconds left. Probably wish I would have taken a little bit more time so Westlake wouldn't have the time. But I think it's the preparation, to answer your question. The preparation in practice, the preparation with the kids. Like Michael Jordan always said, if you prepare for the last shot, it's never pressure for you to make the last shot, because that's what you prepare for.
Wow, that's good. So it's like you're preparing the kids, you know, the players, you know, and also you are also working on yourself, you know, getting yourself prepared.
Yeah.
One question I need to ask you, which has been on my mind, you know, to ask is, basketball is very fluid, you know, especially in varsity basketball. You have kids transferring from one school to the other, you know, and sometimes it is hard for a coach to maintain the level of integrity, you know, that he or she is trying to put in that team, you know, with, you know, players, you know, coming in and out. Some players may have some kind of grudge against the coach or the school, and they want to transfer, or their parents move. How do you maintain the integrity of the program with people coming in and people going out?
I think the main thing where a lot of coaches struggle is, number one, like being able to retain your players, because, you know, you're building a program, okay? And the number one thing with that is having a relationship with the parents. A lot of coaches don't want to deal with parents. And that's not me. I feel I have a son, right? And I feel like, you know, sometimes dads want an answer, And I think the better relationship you have with the parents, the less turnover you're going to have with kids, which helps you to continue your program. We've had some kids move in and move out, but the core of our team, which is youth, I have a relationship with their parents, and I think, I don't think they're going anywhere. You never can say for sure, but, they don't go anywhere. And also my concept is to play 12 players. On that particular team, I didn't have 12 experienced players, but next year, because my JV team was 13-1. So next year, we'll have a team where, I'm a 5 out, 5 in, 5 out coach. Every 4 minutes, I'd rather bring 100% of kids that's maybe not 100% talented, but they have 100% effort, than have a kid that's 100% talent with 40% effort. Because if I had some depth last night, at the end, I could have subbed some kids in there and Chase wouldn't have really got that shot if I had somebody that was fresh off the bench. So I think in building the program, having a relationship with the parents continues to help with the integrity of the program, with keeping kids from turning over, going to other schools. So that's the key, keeping the kids from going to other schools and also having a relationship with the parents.
What life lesson do you want your players to take away from that loss yesterday?
The number one thing is the kids have a saying that says ball is life. But we tell the kids, really, ball is life. And it just tell them, like I told them at the end last night, is that as a man, you're going to get knocked down 1 million times. But you're measured by how many times you get back up. So I said 2 years in a row we lost at the buzzer. But this is my 3rd year here. And prior to me getting here, they only won 4 games in 4 years. So I told them what we're going to do is we're going to get back up. And every time Westlake, Wheeler, Pepperbrook, Campbell, and Newnan see us from this point on, we're going to grow from this.
So the last question I need to ask you is, what plans in the future do you have for your program here at East Coweta High School?
Well, number one thing, I was just talking to the weight training coach before you got here, and now we have all our kids, all our athletes that are in weight training, the weight and speed training. They're the same thing the football kids get. So we're getting that full body development with the kids. Since I've been here, we have more access to the gym. So for last summer, it was the first time we were able to get the upcoming 9th graders and get some games played. So I think right now we're building the 4-year program, not ignoring the 9th graders as far as the development process of it. And as we develop at a younger age, we get better at an older age. So, we've built some relationships with the other coaches around the school, and also we built some relationships with other people in the school so that we can build a 4-year program for the kids, as opposed to you're waiting for him to get to varsity for you to start developing the kid.
Okay, I told you last question, but I have to ask you one more question.
Yes.
Now, who do you think will win the final
in 7A?
Yes, in 7A, yes.
I really do think a tough out would be Pebblebrook High School. This team, they don't have any superstars. They kind of build a team like us, because I keep kids humble. They don't have any superstars. However, they got 4 Division I basketball players that are all seniors, okay? And they just came from hard work. They don't have any Colin Sexton. They don't have any Jerry Harper. They don't have any McDonald's All-Americans. But they hadn't lost a game when Pebblebrook High School was 0-2, I called the coach and said, "This is the best team you had in the last 5 years." It was a team that had Jerry Harper and OBB and the kid is at Georgia and so forth. And I told him, he said, "Why do you think that, coach?" Because I'm 0-2. I said, "Because you got a team." And talent, right? Talented players win games, but a team wins championships.
That's true.
So Pebblebrook hadn't lost a game since November. We 2 times we took them to the end within 2 possessions. We ended up losing by 6 or 8, which is free throws. But I really do think that's going to be a tough out for most teams. And they're big enough to guard the bigger teams, but they're small enough to don't have to change their lineups when other teams go small. So I think Pebblebrook High School, which is in our region, the last 4 or 5 Final Four championships have been a person from our region. So that's what we deal with. Last 2 McDonald's All-Americans have come from our region. E.J. Montgomery's a McDonald's All-American, played for Wheeler High School. Colin Sexton the year before that. Last year, we had 14 out of 15 kids out of our region go top 5 Division I. So this is the region you definitely want to play in if you had dreams of playing. And if you go into the championship, it's pretty much coming out of this region.
In your region, let me just ask, in your region, who do you think is the best three-point shooter in your region?
Best three-point shooter in our region probably would be Mervyn James from Pebblebrook High School. He's about 6'7". He takes somewhere between 3 to 5 3-pointers per game, and he's shooting 75 to 80%. He might miss one per game.
Wow.